Haze, or sorry, Drunken Brawler does give a lot as far as general CS potential, but the early buildup of no Talisman plus a couple branches, and you know Death Prophet is still going to be running away with CS, so it's going to be a hard lane for them to win, and it's going to be on the shoulders of the supports to make it happen.
And with that said, guys, we get underway. It's our second game of the day, if you're just joining us. It's Star Ladder America, brought to you by Beyond the Summit. EG versus Not Today, the new reband of Smash's old team, with Ewo back in the fold. And I think, fingers crossed, we're good as far as the mic spammer goes. And if that's not the case, please tweet at me and let me know. And if you troll me, I will find you and I will kill you. So, with that said, let's introduce the teams. On the Dire side, we've got EG. We've got Trout standing in for Zai as the Witch Doctor. Fear, I guess standing in, but is now an official member of the team. Back in action on the Weaver. PPD playing that support out, already dropping down a defensive ward to protect his middle lane. That will be an Arteezy Death Prophet. And then last but not least, to the off lane goes Universe. So as we get ready to introduce Not Today, for me, the biggest thing about this EG draft is they just destroy Roche if they ever get an opening to take it Blaze. With the minus over from Acid Spray, Gush, as well as Death Prophet ult, if they get a slight lead and they take Roche, they can easily snowball this one.
Definitely. One huge aspect of NOT's early game is going to be the fact that they haven't picked up any Smoke Deceits just yet. They still have it, all three in stock in the shop, so I'm really curious if that's actually going to work out for them, if they're going to underplay the ganking phase and just try to jungle it up a little bit. Radiant jungle's a little bit better in that regard, but with the Dire Vision, it's going to be really hard to get the flank on Universe's Tide.
Especially considering this Observer Ward here, and the lane already, he got a really nice creep block off, and the range creep did slip through, so he will get some early experience. Of course, the lane is going to push, though, because that range creep died, so he'll try and redirect the aggro bit, get his range creep killed off, and Ewo does his best to zone him out of the lane. At the same time, EG thinking about a move towards Mihawk in the top lane, but at level 1, it's not the easiest kill for these heroes. Really want the Acid Spray to follow up the Unstable Concoction. So both teams kind of maneuvering around the enemy offlaner, but both heroes, Centaur and Tide, beefy and not going to be the easiest kills, at least for the first minute or so.
Yeah, Mystico essentially wasting his first magic missile. In 10 mana, he'll have one more, but that's a good 15 seconds, and that means Universe just gets to spread around a little bit, kind of maneuver, and find opportunities to maybe stack up Ancients. Unfortunately, that is going to be Sentry warded out, so he won't be taking that source of income, but no matter the case, NOT are just not putting that much pressure on him, and they really need to make sure these pulls are just picture perfect.
By the way, I neglected to introduce NOT, so real quickly, we've got Mihawk on the offlane Centaur, Smash Sama, Freddy Smash on the Brewmaster mid. Bottom lane will be Misko on the Venge, Masuku on the Kunkka, and that does leave Ewo on the Viper. And with that being said, we're back in business. As far as the laning goes, Arteezy off to a really nice start, though. Already 10-3, and despite that passive crit, he cannot keep up in CS so far. Smash 3-0. Normally more of an easy or an even matchup at those first few levels, but the No Talisman, he's sitting on some additional damage, and it's making the difference for Arteezy.
Certainly, and I mean, sometimes you go into a bit of a Drunken Haze buildup to try to counteract that, but against a Death Prophet, that's not really going to do too much. He's even clapping for a single CS here, and missing some under the tower, unfortunately. Doesn't seem to be just fully on point, but yeah, that Drunken Haze really wouldn't change much about Arteezy's last hit potential. May prevent some denies, but in the end, the Crypt Swarm will still win out as far as getting plenty of last hits and moving Arteezy towards his first big item.
Yeah, as far as offlaners go, it's been pretty much the same so far. Universe, it's level 3. Mihawk, though, did rotate for the top rune, so they're giving Universe a little extra experience. He tried to gank mid, but the Observer Ward here spotted that Invis rune pickup. He could have just used it to leech experience off the lane. And there are actually 2 Sentry Wards already deployed. Not sure if he saw those go down, but in any case, they did not succeed on the D Ward, as it is actually a lane ward, so not leeching experience, and despite being Radiant offlane, he's falling behind in levels.
Yeah, so in this position, you gotta say that the Centaur still is gonna be reliant on getting a blink pretty early on if the Brewmaster doesn't. Right now, Smash is just sitting here with a really low CS, trying to trade with Arteezy, but any rotation from EG, and that's gonna be him just falling behind dramatically. He'll start out okay, but I think there's still a lot of emphasis on Mihawk getting some early goal towards that blink, because really the Brewmaster can't do it alone.
Even in the safe lane, the Viper is not CSing nearly as well as your Weaver for Fear already. Fear's at 21-13, so often we do see the Midas rush from Weaver players. Very, very popular with Sylar. Fear's done it historically. Could go for a more aggressive type build, pick up early treads, but with this kind of start, he's going to have something pretty big quickly. And when you're running a Viper, you don't want to be trading farm and losing out on the trade on top of that, as the hero is not going to scale the way a Weaver does later on in the game.
Yeah, if you check out Iwa's items, it's actually pretty interesting. It might be a bit of the reason why his CS is just a bit behind here. You only win for a Boots first startup, which gives him a few more opportunities to maybe harass and kill Universe, or maybe just dodge out the Anchor Smash, as of course Universe went for the Boots first himself. But in the end, it does cost him some base damage, and he's only got the 1 point in the Nether Toxin, so maybe costing him a few here and there. And yeah, if he doesn't build up pretty quickly towards some right-click damage output, then he is going to be falling quickly behind the Weaver.
Mihawk will get a big creep wave now. That top lane pushes in, and the catapult comes. I say a big wave. If they get off this secondary pull, no, actually they don't have it, so he will finally see a little bit of experience. But EG have been doing a pretty good job of denying him, whereas Universe was off to a great start, has slowed down a bit. Now both heroes level 3. And overall, it just seems like more has been invested in trying to shut down the Tide, though. They've just been sitting on the tri-lane and constantly trying to zone him out, getting boots first on Iwo, like you mentioned, probably in an effort to keep the Tide off the lane, but was not successful and did cost him a bit of CS.
Yeah, and now the Inches are going to start spawning. We'll see if they invest in another Sentry Ward to try to prevent Universe from taking that source of income, but for now...
They really need to. I mean, you're up against a team that just wrecks Ancients, Alk and Tide, but...
True.
It's a big investment to keep on warding that.
Yeah, I mean, right now Mystico's getting absolutely nothing. He's sitting at 2 CS for himself that he hasn't been doing the pulling Punka has, so he's going to be happy if he can get brown boots as well as...
We're looking at a Midas Viper here. This is not a very common build-up for Viper. What do you make of this? Is this just that we can't win our lanes, so we gotta give ourselves some sort of late game potential? Well, where are you? How are you feeling about this pickup? As it is around the same time as the Weaver.
I feel like Viper is supposed to win his lanes. He's supposed to be dominant in that regard. He's supposed to have a lot of control. So picking it up on a hero that naturally should already have a nice early game advantage, it feels a little bit awkward. He's not going to have as much effective HP despite the points he'll put into Corrosive Skin, so he's not going to be tanking up a lot and could cost him a couple deaths. You die like maybe twice because you're lacking the durability that a point booster would give you, and suddenly you're like, well, is it even really that cost effective? So obviously as the game goes along, it's going to be a pretty valuable pickup, but we'll see if it can actually make a difference in the early game, whether or not he'll find some kills.
I guess the other question is, what's their timing window here? They're running a double blink lineup, so I think ideal situation is your Viper gets his next big item. Oh, you see a bit of a wraparound on mid. Matsuko struts in, and the smash goes in. But now they're going to commit a split here, and they bring Arteezy back in. They drop him low, but Matsuko might be the one who goes down first. It's a double rotation from EG. Both the supports join the lane. Arteezy stands strong for the time being and makes his way to the north. Witch Doctor thrown up nearby the Cyclone. They can't finish off Arteezy, a long-range boulder, but it's too late. Can he get the clap follow? Oh, Arteezy, he walked back and he pays for it with his life. Now the trade though. Misko down near the Pot of Rune, caught out by an Anchor Smash, and Alk stunned as well. And a few more right clicks will finish the job. They lose the Venge too. EG do get the 2-for-1. Arteezy walked back into that boulder toss. I think he thought the split was over, and well, he gave away what looked to be an avoidable kill, and it could have been just a 2-for-0 in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they killed off the Fire and the Wind Panda, so maybe thinking he could do just enough damage to kill off the Earth could actually net him a kill against the Brewmaster, but obviously that free crit and the fact that Smash had plenty of mana to spare was pretty huge. Now he's got 10 Magic Stick charges, so although it doesn't look like he has much, he could go right back in, and indeed he will try to, but Arteezy still getting the better end. So a pretty poor death, but the fact that they got 2 kills in return, including the first blood, still puts EG further ahead.
And EG looking towards that Tide Ravage soon. Universe hits level 5 already. Meanwhile, your Centaur about the same. And now they go in on the top lane. Can they chainless stun Fear? They do it perfectly. And they will bring him down. Sentry Ward was ready. That's a great rotation by MOT. And Arteezy will look to punish this. Will pop his Exorcism mid. Works in the tier 1 tower, but they got to get something. An early death on the Weaver might have been used, so at least not losing additional value there. But still a costly death and a much-needed rotation from MOT. Meanwhile, their Viper is, well, it's still a Viper, but he's being left unchecked with his Midas. And on that note, he will catch up with Fear. In fact, surpassing him as far as net worth goes.
Is this, what kind of player are they looking for here? They smoke up Arteezy and PPD, but the exorcism is gone, so they're not going for Roche, they're not going for really push. They're just trying to find one more pick off, but it's been pinged out, PPD gets broken, and I don't even think Ewo's gonna get picked off here.
And they don't have exorcism, like you said, it just ended, so really can't push with it. That is, I feel like that was EG. Crap, we just used exorcism and we didn't get a tower. Can we make anything else happen on the map? But like you said, NOT they reveal the smoke on the Alk and they just back off. Well done. And they hold serve in all their lanes. In fact, we look at last game, your Centaur took ages to get up to his Blink Dagger for DD, but this time around, Mihawk already 1,500 gold despite going for that top rune and dilly-dallying around a bit. He's going to have a timely Blink, and with that and the long-range initiation of a level 2, soon to be level 3 if he wants it, X, and along with that, the Venge Stun, they've got the burst to keep a Weaver down and the range of initiation to pull it off, and Smash picks up his own Blink, so this may be a game where the Viper, going for an early Midas, the team's going to carry him through that stage of the game where he's a bit vulnerable, and Mech is coming, Blaze. I'm feeling like NOT could be right back in this with one more good gank, and they're looking for that top now.
Naturally, the X-Marks is really good against Weaver, who's trying to use his max movement speed to his advantage in finding kills, but looks like Fear is getting a little bit wiser as far as how he's playing against that. The first one was an unfortunate death, but this time he can avoid it by just staying outside of range. However, you can't see all these blinks coming this quickly. I mean, you know that it's going to be in general in this time, but this is even faster than you'd expect. Mihawk going for a different build, distributing these resources solely to the Blink Dagger, rather than going for things like the Stout Shield, the Tranquils, and like Magic Wand and Branches like we saw in last game.
Yeah, and I ultimately just look at it like I'm not going to be able to like really win this lane or go for any solo kills, so maybe sacrifice a little bit of sustain, but mostly just get my level 6, 7 up and participate in team fights. That's where NOT are looking to really leave their mark on EG, and they've got Stampede ready, and Smash has Blink ult. I expect them to go for something fairly soon here. Just waiting for that one Blink to come out. 300 gold and counting. Mech nearly ready. EG got to be a little nervous, and this is where they have to look towards Universe to have a very timely Ravage, to hopefully dodge some of the scarier initiations like the Centaur Blink. But if they get caught, I do not like their chances in the upcoming fight. So that being said, we've seen Zai's work magic on those Witch Doctor ultimates, and you can't count out the possibility that Trout will do the same.
Check out the Ancients here. They're actually using Acid Spray plus the Exorcism to try to give it to Arteezy. It's a single target spell, but in this case, if they have enough negative armor, they might be able to actually pull it off. The Tidal start tanking things up with the 2 points of Kraken and 3 points of Anchor Smash, and okay, actually he's not, but nevertheless, they're still getting a lot of farm here for Arteezy, so a big ramp up for him. It's if he doesn't die.
Fire here, 64 HP. He will live, and now the Ghost return. He got every last scrap out of that as possible. Mihawk purchased top, and they could go here with the Kunkka to start it off. Fear does have a time lapse. They're going to have to chain stun this one perfectly. The lane ward, there's actually not a lane ward, just 2 sentries. They wanted to make sure there was no vision, and in comes Misco, but can't find that opening. So it looks like in the end we'll back off. Arteezy just going drums, so really not that powerful start that you'd like to see on a Death Prophet, but does get some sort of sustain. Still, I feel Blaze, if he gets caught by one of the initiators, he's dying to the follow-up, with drums or no drums.
Radiant's middle tower,
we'll see if he gets caught. The Blink is here, so the potential has now arrived for NOT.
NOT's gank presence is pretty binary. You either are just like bringing them down 100 to 0, or you're not catching them out at all. It's going to be that little extra HP that allows him to fight more actively when he gets the Yule Scepter, but until that point in time, it's kind of just like a little bit of mobility across the map and a little bit more as far as stats go. It's not the best thing, but since he is ramping up his farm quite a bit, we should still see the Yules come out at a pretty good pace. Looking over at the Viper, we were talking about it earlier, the Midas pickup on him seemed a little awkward at the time, but as we see now, he's going to have his mechanism and his treads by the time he would even have to contribute to a fight.
Top lane, he does go into solution just in time, and now they're forced to Stampede retreat out of that one. Did not have any detection on the Centaur, and just weren't quite in range for the follow-up with the Kunkka Venge, unfortunately. But that was close. If Fear was like a couple hundred units farther out. In fact, as I say that, he walks into Century, now caught by the Export, does have time lapse, can he get it off? No chance! And he will fall. Mihawk able to survive through that one, drops pretty low in the process, and it was a big commitment, but they got the kill on a fairly greedy Weaver build, and it's exactly what they need. Now they look for Johnny Walker. They'll swap him back in, and Ewo finds the range for that ultimate. They'll run him down. Doesn't have a TP scroll. Just pop a Death Ward to try and stand his ground. Mizco running in, but the mech will keep him alive. 2 heroes falling. Meanwhile, mid, there's a split. Arteezy might go down as well. Another boulder toss. The kill is there. NOT just cleaning EG up across the map. Looking for more. They'll cyclone the out, but with his split, with his ultimate form still active. Not going to be the easiest kill. In fact, Smash sticks around. He wants to go for this one. Masuku not going to connect on the torn, and now he's overextended perhaps. PPD looking for the stun. He'll get it off. Fierce here. Goes for the Roche deny. Not even going to be able to get to the Roche. Just chain stunned into submission. Unfortunately, with Death Prophet dead, they can't turn this into a Roche kill. And NOT take a tier 1 top. Meanwhile, mid, Smash still being aggressive. Point booster at the ready. What a fast start for NOT. They are... It looks even numbers-wise, but I feel like the level of team fight they have, they're getting all their core items up. They could just run EG over if EG aren't careful.
Sure, they found a beautiful timing window there where Universe just wasn't ready to fight. He had the Ravage and he had a TP scroll, but bringing that to the fight, he would have barely had enough mana to get off 2 spells and really contribute to a real extent. Instead, he stays, he farms, he pushes a little bit on bottom lane, and he now has the Blink Dagger. So they're in much better straits than they were moments ago, but they did, of course, like you said, NOT, they really ramped it up and they found the timing where Universe just did not want to respond, and they end up losing on multiple fronts. Still going for the Roach here. They get the medallion down, so this is going to be an easy pick for them, even if NOT tried to contest.
Yeah, couldn't Rosh it before the fight ended, then, well, had to wait for the respawn from the Death Prophet, but NOT hasn't been able to find it. Recognizing Primal splits down, they really can't fight that effectively. They will get the Roach kill. Now, EG looks to turn on the back of that Aegis. He'll go in. Now Universe arrives and delivers a beautiful Ravage. The follow-up there from the Death Ward. It's not being canceled. Johnny Walker gets it off full duration. But let the team make their retreat. Mihawk standing strong for now. And it looks like a hasted Brewmaster on the backside will force EG back. Everyone low. Nobody dead yet. Masuka's actually coming back in. He wants to initiate this. They get Mizco caught in the river. They'll lose their Vengeful Spirit for that. And now Fear will pick off the Kunkka as well. 2 heroes fall. Can't believe NOT is still fighting this.
Yeah.
No Aegis.
I don't know.
Giving up 2 freebies.
They
could
had
have all just walked away.
3 heroes with like 25% HP, and they chose to walk back into it. I'm assuming Smash, who was full HP with Primal Split, was egging them on, but no matter the case, they were not in a position to really contest that. They couldn't even bring down Fear once, let alone twice, and that was just a poor hesitation that cost them dearly. Maybe a courier snipe down in bottom lane. Fear isn't going to get stunned out. He doesn't. The Gemini is not enough to finish it off, so
the
looks like
panic smoke, but that's not going to save the courier. Fortunately, the courier does make it over the tree line and lives. While Mizco and Smash combine mid, they'll bring down the Witch Doctor, and did not expend a Primal Split for that. So a nice kill for them. And Fear going for an invis. Who's going to get it first? Universe will. Doesn't have Ravage, but can go on to Smash. They're going to force out a split now. But the Centaur arrives, focusing on Fear. Can they finish off this Aegis? Sometimes they can't. They cyclone him in the air. Universe drops low, will fall. Do they go back for the Weaver?
You can't time-lapse to full because of the tornado.
Uh-oh. Now he's thrown up in the air, and when he comes back down, they can chain stun him. Centaur Stomp ready. Is the timing there? It is. The old man dies twice. Back to the well for Fear, and they'll have to look for Arteezy to trade, but he doesn't have mana for the ultimate. Could maybe force the tier 1 top with it during that time, but well, it's too late now. And now they come on mid. That looked like a great little fight for EG, but such a nice jump in for Mihawk. Turning everything with that stop.
Yeah. And that tornado control against the Weaver is actually a lot stronger than I had previously considered. The fact that you get a 5-second reset timer for your time lapse, and the fact that the tornado throws you up for longer than that, makes it so that you're in the exact same state of affairs that you were when the tornado started, and you really can't pull back from that. So they bring down Fear twice over with that combo, and my goodness, that is just a huge turn of events in favor of them. They still need to play carefully because the Ravage is coming back up, but at least for the moment, they are pulling ahead.
Yeah, and it's whenever this Brewmaster split is up that EG really seem to have trouble, and it's going to get worse soon. Smash nearly has Ags. We're 17 minutes in, and Fear has died a few too many times, Blaze. 2 and 3 at this point, no assists. He's still hanging on in net worth thanks to the Midas, but until he gets a Linken's, he's just such an easy kill for them. Anytime they catch him with an X, or any sort of other follow, like a swap into a stun, if they have detection ready, it's tough for Fear to get out, and that's not even counting what you mentioned with the Brewmaster's ability to negate time-lapses, healing potential, and EG. One of their big trump cards was going to be the dire side Roche advantage, but it just cast aside easily by NFT, and they'll look to move on this one. Split's ready, and I think we're going to see Smash come bottom, and Quite a bit of 5-man DotA from EG momentarily.
Yeah,
Or from NOT. They're smoked up.
The 3-man smoke movement down bottom. They're going to be looking for another kill on Fear. He only has 800 HP, the full magic stick, but so far hasn't gotten the chance to use it. So we'll see if they can get the chains done once again. But a good boat behind a Mihawk initiation, and that should be enough to bring down Fear once again.
And
so.
PPD is just saying, no. You can't be here, Clinton. Back off. And Fear will oblige. In fact, he's going to head to the other side of the map. But it's just the Weaver who can't really join the fights for now. Whereas you look at the other Midas carrier in this game, Ewo. I mean, this guy can really get aggressive, especially with the other initiators. They can't be focusing Viper when they've got to worry about the Primal Split and the Centaur stop. Mid lane, Primal Split was used. Arteezy might get caught out. Drop slow. Now a Torrent. X available, but he will cyclone himself, trying to dodge that Torrent. Unfortunately, still caught. Right back into another bolt. Once they get the kill, meanwhile bottom lane. Looking for Ewo. The Death Ward comes through. He gets off the mech. The swap's there, and is it enough to keep him alive? Whoa! Not dead yet. The Earth thrown out from long range. Barely surviving. He will live. Stampede was used earlier in the engagement, and now the chase continues. Looks like they'll collect the bend in their trade, but well worth it there, keeping the core alive. Mihawk, now he's got to make his way out. There's another gush in 3 seconds, but while that was all happening, NOT, looks like the tier 1 mid did go down. Well, actually, that might have been earlier. But anyway, tier 1 mid's down. They get another kill on Arteezy, and the good news is Fear is not dying. He's at least getting a little time to farm, and Primal Split was used in the end.
Yeah, this is such a back and forth game as far as these engagements go. I mean, you can't even tell what's going to be happening from one minute to the next between these cooldown usages. I mean, the usage of Smash right there, he goes for a clap, split, clap onto Arteezy, and there's just no way for him to get out of that in full. The Yules can delay damage, but unless he has his team behind him, there's really not much they can do. With the lack of tier 1, there's the lack of reinforcements, and NOT just keep them pinned down. So, great movement there. We'll see if EG can rally the troops with all their LTs up, but for right now, Ravage is down for 78, and there's damage coming down bottom.
Well, it's very early here in Starlighter America, but only one team from the division moves on to Kiev into the land finals. So EG obviously going to be the prohibitive favorites, even if they go on to lose this game, but you'd like to move into the playoffs as the 1 or 2 seed and have a comfortable road into Kiev. Let's see how NOT do from here on out. Leading 9-6 in terms of kills. Fear will look for the split push and gets closer to his linkage, though he still does not have it yet. Recipe Gold is finally available, and he'll purchase it now. But while he's waiting for the linkage to arrive, Masuko is strutting up, looking for an opening with an X-Torrent. He's really far in. And he'll find the tide to start this one off. Now Smash comes in. If he splits in time, the boat following the Universe gets no Ravage off. And now they swap in Johnny Walker. Well, Trout is trapped. Trout is in trouble, and Trout will fall here, even through the hill. One more crit from the double damage Panda does the trick. The Brewmaster delivers. Masuko to set that one up, and where's the trade for EG? They'll look for it here with the split push mid and top, but it's just not coming fast enough, Blaze. They're losing a tier 2, and they're not getting a tower in exchange.
Yeah, it's just Fear's item build right now. He finally got the tank to survive through a full combo from a couple heroes, but now he doesn't have the damage to actually bring down the split. So in this case here, NOT just getting the perfect initiation. Masoku really making plays happen with that Kunkka, even getting a ward behind the tower to start it off. Like, that ward was fully in vision range of EG, and they had it detected because of the tier 2, but he didn't care. It's a temporary asset to get a very clean kill. Unfortunately, Universe didn't even have Ravage at the time, so there was really no counterplay, even if it wasn't chained perfectly, but they didn't leave room for error.
Well, that just makes things easy then if it wasn't even available, but no, that X-Torrent once again delivers, and Fear will look for a bit of a trade top, trying to harass Smash off the lane and get some time to farm. Smash will just stand his ground, just starts right-clicking the Weaver, cleaning up the bugs while there's a bit of a skirmish over the bottom rune. PPD collecting a haste and backing off. And once again, Primal Split is ready, and you gotta figure NOT will keep the pressure up. No reason to let EG catch up here. No reason to let the Desolator come out unopposed, or that next tank item for Arteezy, which could be your Radavatos, your Heart, your Shivas. I imagine every time Split's up, Blaze, they're just gonna force a fight.
And it's so difficult to fight against it, even though the mechanism just came out for EG. Like, if the split comes through, that fight is at least half won. They'll at the very least draw even, and that's something that you generally don't get to say against Ravage plus the Exorcism, but it's 100% true. They got so much from this Ag Scepter, so much from the fact that Smash is almost level 16.
Oh, Arteezy. Not like this, not like this, not again. Mihawk jumps in, the stun start, the torrents will follow, and the troops are marching in. Once again, he dies. Smash now on the pursuit, and he's thinking about a split, but for now, he's just going to throw out the level 4 Drunken Haze. Plenty of lockdown for Johnny Walker. Trout will be next, caught out and brought down. And once again, NOT find the pickoff, losing yet another core. The Death Prophet and the Weaver. Unfortunately, Arteezy and Fear just can't seem to stay alive this game. You've already got 3 deaths on Fear, and that is going to be 4 deaths for Arteezy. Neither player having a good game, and to be honest, plays at this point, with the amount of initiation NOT have, it's really hard not to get caught if you're EG.
Absolutely, and so Fear's the one that's lived through 2 of these unfortunate exchanges, but he doesn't really have like a Desolator or even phase boost to push out the towers, so losing out on each exchange. Now the initiation of PPD, even with the heal, I don't think he gets out. Can they get the stun? Yes, they will.
They have too much initiation. It's a level 2X, which isn't the best, but now your level 2 swap has come online, and the Viper having Eggs, they can catch out anybody from extreme range, not to mention Stampede, Blink Clap.
Dire's middle tower has
EG
fallen.
just, even split pushing a tower is going to be risky. The Weaver's the one here who can probably get away with it, but I just love the way they're playing this one. Mihawk gets go in the trees, he'll force staff and TP himself out from the pit.
Yeah, and Fear got denied on top lane too. He just doesn't have the damage to guarantee it.
And meanwhile, there's going to be a skirmish at the bottom rune. Misco? No, he'll just deny it. He denies it from Smash.
Smash is like right there. He's like, what the hell, man?
Smash is like, what the hell, man? There was some EG troops on the way, but I think they would have allowed NOT to pick that one up, so. At
That's
this
where
point,
you rage alt-click the bottle, and you're like, bottle ready, what the hell, man?
And then immediate pause and report your teammate. GG. I feel like EG has to sneak a Roche at this point, Blaze. It's just not good enough to be trading. Well, they're not really trading that effectively. He's low, and he will fall. He didn't even attempt a time-lapse, just tried to Sakuchi his way out. I don't know if he would have gotten it off. It does have a slight cast animation, but with the Sakuchi attempt, that just didn't happen.
Yeah, he was dead either way, but yeah, they didn't even have detection. They killed him in the fade time, so it was close. But okay, Arteezy just blinking right up. It's like, hey, how's it going, guys? It's just not a good game for getting picked off.
It feels like with EG, it's like just one creep too much every time, you know? Arteezy and Fear, what would work in a normal game just doesn't work against Centaur, double blink, X marks the spot, level 2 swap. It's just like a little bit too much initiation range, and they just keep on getting punished. One wave too far. Well, now Mihawk looks for more, patrolling through the EG jungle, and will go in, but already Universe, quicker on the reaction, will blink his way out.
Yeah, the one advantage they do have here is a lot of observer wards in their own jungle. They're warding very defensively, they've got control of the map, and at least for the moment, there isn't a geometry site on the side of NOT. This was one thing that I commented on their last game that we cast in Star Ladder, but they really don't pick up a gem for a very long period of time, and it's difficult to cement an advantage when the enemy has so much vision of your whereabouts. They're going to just trade the tier 2 for Roshan, and it should go pretty cleanly.
Having slight remembrances of that final EG game where they got the Roche, but their base was being battered in the process. And if they commit a Death Prophet ult for this one and they don't have it for high ground defense, this could cost them a lane of racks. NOT are going to force the issue. The things are coming out now for the pit. EG though, hang on to the Exorcism and looks like they will secure the Aegis. So this is a better trade than they got in that final game with TI4. That looks like they will hang on for now. PPD into the front lines. And they're looking for the opening, but the difference here is if they jump, it's not just the hero on its own, it's jumping right into 5, defending the high ground with an Aegis on the Weaver. This is going to be a bit tougher for NOT to break in, but they'll settle for chip damage. No Treant Protector. This is permanent tower damage they're doing. Though Arteezy finds a tier 1 trade bottom.
Yeah, he's just able to say, okay, well, until you guys commit, I don't really have to TP, so he's just going to keep doing his thing. And NOT, their fear is getting the better of them because they're really afraid to clump up against this Ravage. They all get hit by Ravage Anchor Smash, and the fight is kind of over. Obviously, it depends on the Brewmaster, and if he's able to get the split off in spite of potential silences, but yeah, for right now, they have to play very cautiously, and that's giving Arteezy the run-of-the-mill down on bottom.
I feel like they need a good Witch Doctor ult to kill him. Like, if they just get a Ravage silence off, he's got Assault, Caress, Evasion, and Eggs. He is very tanky. Also, first they get up Justice. He's going to prompt a Stampede, and if they don't go in right now, which they have, with the split on the top side of the fight, working on PPD as well as now they're going to isolate and bring down the Witch Doctor. The supports have fallen, and here just can't seem to get the fight. The fourth hero out of this one. Does he make it out? Just TP's away in the nick of time, but they may cost them Masuku here. The Centaur's fallen, and well, the Tunk is on the run. Universe in hot pursuit. They'll bring him down. The boat was thrown way late on that. Not sure if it was cooling down at the start of the fight. In the end, it's actually a pretty solid hold from EG. Still have the Aegis to boot.
Yeah, that boat is such a huge cooldown for them to have, but they weren't really in sync when they tried to siege the base. Smash tried to kind of go for a surprise attack by blinking in and then Primal Split as soon as he entered, and that definitely worked, but all the same, we see kind of the resurgence here. We see them just using one buyback, and although they're not able to cancel too many TPs in the escape, they are still able to hold the high ground, and that's very important for Fear's item progression and his chance to bring this game back.
Yeah, at this point it really seems like they need that Deso. If they get the Deso out, you can start to focus the Pandas down a bit better, though you do still have the AC Aura, which persists on the Earth Panda, so it's not going to be as squishy as what they sometimes get to be late game, but I feel like Deso is the key. Plus, you were mentioning he doesn't split push that quickly. Deso really changes that equation, and at that point, NOT have to commit like 3 heroes anytime they want to try and pick him off for doing so, and that in turn will create space for Arteezy. So, EG hang on for now, and I'm not sure why we're looking at fantasy points, but getting my hotkeys mixed up here. Well, they'll push through mid. They do have some aggressive wards, the place down from the earlier engagements, but not really in position to capitalize on these. With your Centaur top, they don't have their full complement of burst. And to truth be told, Blaze, if this goes on much longer, NOT don't have the best late game. They definitely have a really strong mid game, but there's no hard carry for this team. Eventually you can focus the brew lanes down, and if BKBs ever come out for these cores for EG, I think we're going to see NOT start to fall off. Very magic damage heavy. They split. Universe will start making off the Viper ultimate, but the Death Prophet ult already deployed. Arteezy will self-cyclone, while Ewo is driven off by Fear, dropping quite quickly towards the mech. Boulder toss is there, but they just can't get in close. And now Universe looks to turn. The Ravage is there. Great 3-hero silence to follow it up, and the pain train arrives. Not the best step, they've got a few clinks off, but it seems to be enough. It's a full-blown retreat from NOT on the run. They've lost their Panda. He's caught out by the Cyclone. Now swapped out from long range. Nicely done by Misko. Sacrificing himself. The boat flies in, not connected on anything. Will Smash still fall? He blinks out in the nick of time. But Masuku, not so lucky. 3 fall. EG, hold the base. Still don't lose the Aegis. There's your Deso online, and it looks like they're salvaging this game after a pretty rocky mid-game.
Yeah, absolutely immense Ravage silence coming out from Universe and Arteezy there. And actually, I think the Death Ward did a lot of work in that fight just because of the fact that in the last second that the Viper was alive, he popped his BKB. It was a fresh 10-second BKB. Maybe he could have mech'd and turned it around, but they just did barely enough damage while he was disabled that the panic buttons didn't win through. He didn't survive, and in the end, they pull so far ahead. EG taking back control of the map. They still have Aegis, even though they probably won't get a chance to use it, but in the end, they're pushing forward. Though they do see the AC Aura.
They don't actually have a split yet, but Mihawk will go in anyway. Focusing on Arteezy, doesn't have the ultimate available, dropping low, and Fear will finish him off. Now looking for a bit more as Arteezy falls. Fear begins to trade with Ewo, but Ewo is just too tanky to trade with. So in the end, we'll have a 1-for-1. They try to arrive from the backside and go for more. Fear's a bit surrounded here. Any detection for him? Looks like he will make his way out. And Death Prophet for Centaur. On paper, not too bad for NOT, getting more of a carry-oriented core at this stage, but they're just not converting these kills into anything more. Not taking Roshan, not taking the base, and not shutting down the Weaver either. Fear, yet another notch on his belt after a rough start. He's back in it.
I think the Roshan play is absolutely immense for EG as well, because for the most part, NOT have had just full control of the entire map, and they still haven't claimed a single word for themselves. That would be just the game changer, but instead it's been in favor of EG every time, and now they can't even siege the space in full, even with everything up for Smash.
They do force out a buyback for the Death Prophet. They creeps in the base on mid, and they try to force the Rex top, but Smash, now a bit isolated. He will be Cyclone, and this may prompt an ultimate from him. Can he get it off in time? Driven out a bit, the boat's coming in. This is going to be... No, it looked good. I jinxed him. I am so sorry, my Kunkka friend. Now Smash has to split, and as soon as that split happens, EG, well, do they back off? They're actually running into the jungle. They want to fight even against the split. Now, they'll just head towards mid, and it looks like they'll push that lane out instead. If they had just kept on walking forward, like a half-second more, Blaze, 3-hero boat, maybe they fight that, but no chance without it.
Definitely not, and it's just it's going to get harder and harder as the game goes along. They still don't have a geometry sight to try to bring down the Weaver. They are losing control of the map in general. Like the Observer Ward that they have in place doesn't really give them much, and they don't really have any more on the map just yet. So It's very difficult to actually regroup from the losses that they've received in these past few minutes, and Fear's just going to get bigger. He's going to outcarry harder, and NOT are coming up short.
And this is the phase of the game where running a one-position Viper, he starts to fall off a bit, especially against Weaver, who doesn't care about the slow at all, and who's usually going to have an Aegis at his side. Killing him once, maybe they can pull it off, but they've got to commit a lot, and once Fear gets like a BKB, you have Arteezy now with the completed heart. He had that in the last fight. Plate now picked up as well. These cores are going to get to the point where you just can't bring them down from that chain stun. Very effective for the first 25 minutes, but we're getting to the territory where you need pure right-click, and they just don't have it. And they also don't have much lockdown for BKB targets.
Look at the golden experience graphs right now. I mean, it tells a real story of how there were a lot of back and forth fights in the early stages, and then NOT took this huge advantage that almost seemed insurmountable because of how far behind Fear was. But in the end, they're able to make some great fights, some great movements, take Roshan when it counted, and now they are just in a commanding position in this game, where it's NOT that have to just kind of go for the all-in play, find one pick, maybe on Fear, but detection is limited.
They have scouted him out. They're going to commit to this one with the Centaur ultimate, but Fear is a little bit too far out, and with the cast bouncing out from the Witch Doctor, NOT will not be able to convert into a kill.
I'm just shaking my head at that detection play. They just exhausted literally everything they had. They used the dust, it missed, they dropped down 2 sentries, both missed, and they now don't have any detection once again.
Well, this is the point where, as you mentioned earlier, you'd really like to have a gem.
Especially a Brew who could carry it perfectly. He'll try again, but man, in this case, he's actually the one that might be caught out. It depends on Mihawk's movement, but Universe can TP very readily and try to make this a real fight for EG.
NOT, I'm starting to feel they need a great boat. We just haven't seen one this game. I'm feeling like we need a 4 or 5 hero boat for them, and it's also got to come in a timely fashion, right when they're starting to take a lot of damage. Maybe to negate something that the Death Ward provides. They will go in on Fear. They get off the stop, but Gene stuff there. He will fall. He buys back instantly, and he time lapses in. The split's just been deployed. DPD going deep, but the boat comes, and it's not a great one once again. The Alk will fall. They did force out a Weaver buyback, so this is not a bad trade for them at least. Going on Fear again. Is there going to be enough crit damage from the Fire Panda to finish him off? He doesn't have a time-lapse available to use during the fight, but now Universal Rise. Ravage will fly, and the Death Ward to follow. Straight onto Smash. Silence trying to TP out. Can he get out in time? They lose the Weaver again. It's a dieback from Fear, but it seems they'll hold the line anyway. Mihawk on the way out. Arteezy still here with an Exorcism at the ready. Just shredding Mihawk into one. He'll die, and now Misko falls as well. EG, I gotta say, Fear getting caught out a lot, but in the end, it is creating space for Arteezy to take over these fights. And it looks like Misko, he's got a long way from home. He'll accept his fate and sacrifice his life for the greater good, I suppose.
Yeah, Arteezy putting the old man on his back. With this amount of effective HP, he's able to just go in and absolutely obliterate. Maybe that'll still be true against Smash's Refresher Orb. We'll have to see if the Pandas live long enough, but this is where EG has to shift their focus. They have to start bringing down the Brewlings very quickly, and that's going to be huge for them. I'm curious if EG are going to wait on the Aegis pickup to try to give it to Fear, or are they just going to say screw it and make sure that it's in good hands?
Yeah, this is and kind of awkward timing for them. There's the double split about to come up in 15 seconds, and the Weaver's dead, and there's no Exorcism. So if EG try and force this, and NOT get into the pit, I feel like that's a fight they should win, but it doesn't seem EG will go for it yet. They're going to wait for the Weaver to basically be up, and Arteezy's ultimate will be coming online in 35 seconds. And here we go. PPD will scout it out. No, he won't. They're just hanging out near the pit, and clearly both teams have their eyes completely fixed on Roche.
Yeah. Just painful death timers on the Weaver. It has not been able to really come back at all with the death timer there. We are going to see a gem come out for EG here, but I don't know. This is going to be a very difficult fight. They can wait it up for the Ravage, 45 seconds, that'd be great, but like you said, they're both poised in this position. The only one that's out of place right now is the Centaur, and if you think about actually where he can TP to, there's pretty much no way he gets to the pit by the time the fight's over.
No tier 1s, no tier 2s up, and EWO now attempting to do a bit of dewarding. Arteezy is thinking about a Yule Scepter initiation, but he won't get in range for that, and looks like in the end they'll just farm some Ancients. EG trying to take advantage of the dire side and the Ancients that are near the pit, and now they'll poke in, and it looks like they will commit. We're going to see that double primal split do its work. Smash is not in position. if they want to pop an exorcism for this, they'll definitely kill it off in time. They might even do it anyway, but with a few bashes on Arteezy or Fear, might not be enough. Exorcism comes down. They want to finish this one off quickly. It didn't just melt with that exorcism. Are they still going to go in? Iwa wants to. He's getting shredded by Arteezy. The Brother Viper striking. Now the X. The Torrent float will come through, but Arteezy dodges it with a nice Evil Scepter. Now split number 1 is activated. They go straight onto the Death Prophet. Fire Panda out of commission. Arteezy at half health. Still has the Aegis available. They'll lose the Wind Panda as well, and it's only the Earth Panda. It might not even survive long enough for round 2. Trapped in the pit. Will Boulder toss Arteezy. Still taking damage. The Torch there. He can clap. He'll do it. He can split a second time if he gets off the refresher. Ravage comes through. Smash 4-step out of the pit, but now he's in an awkward predicament in the middle of nowhere. Can blink back in. He was silenced for a time. It will end, and now they look for Mihawk. Brought low, finished off by one last right click. Where's that secondary primal split? Are we gonna see it get smashed? Well, he hasn't refreshed yet. He's still biding his high blade. He's gonna do it soon, though, I imagine. There's your refresher. There's your split. Right as the Death Prophet ultimate ends, it goes straight onto Arteezy, focusing him with all 3 pandas. Cycloning the Witch Doctor, looking for the backside heroes, but now he's alone. They've lost the Viper. The Kunka's being routed, and it seems the double split just won't be enough here. EG waiting for the split to end and looking to make it 4 heroes dead for NOT. Any second now.
Oh,
he tries to blink out, and he wins to the north.
So he does escape, but as soon as he got the second split off, they already had lost all their damage. The Viper got taken down, and they really just couldn't bring any more to it. Obviously, the fact that the Aegis and the Cheese were up on Arteezy and Fear respectively kind of gave them concern of who to focus, but in the end it was just a very difficult fight for them to take, and the refresher just was not enough.
And they just don't have the right click anymore. Your Viper's got a Manta, which is not a bad item by any means, but I feel like he's got to have like a butterfly MKB, you know? He's got to have at least one more really hard-hitting item to have a shot at going blow for blow with PG. And he just doesn't have it.
And I mean, EG moved really well there, delaying the second primal split as much as possible. He was silenced twice over for 7 seconds, both times that he wanted to go back in. He had some awkward positioning in the trees. In general, Smash, the fight revolved around him as far as when he could actually commit all of his resources, and EG just had the advantage for 90% of it. And unfortunately, NOT kind of had the resurgence right at the end when it was already too late. So EG taking the map back a little bit once again. Again, they are the ones with the geometry sight on PPD, and that means that they can, generally speaking, gain control of the map, get more farm, and take this late game.
And EG, you know, looking to make moves now as we have entered late game, 40 minutes in. Still, neither team has fully broken the base. Earlier this game, the Tier 3 did fall top if you're just joining us, but NOT, despite an early hot start, couldn't actually break through. And now it's EG who seem to be holding most of the cards. Cheese up on Fear still, and they actually never broke through the Aegis on the Death Prophet in the last fight. Arteezy dropped to like half health from the first split, then the Ghost came back, then the second split was used eventually, like you mentioned, after, you know, 20 seconds of stalling. Dropped down to about half again, didn't die, and, well, now they've got to deal with the double Death Prophet in the next fight. To be fair, you only get the Exorcism once, so it's not really the best Aegis carrier, but she's still just a tanky monster, even just spanning Crypt Swarms and constantly right-clicking. We'll see. Yeah. They do find Trough. It's just a primal split for a Witch Doctor, but I suppose you'll take what you can get at this point. If they can find Fear, that would be the big kill, but he still has that Lincoln Sphere. Does have a TP scroll and a Cheese, and looks like he will dodge the net.
No, he can't do it.
Makes his way up.
Yeah, if you hit the Wave of Terror, you can try to go for the swap, but because of the Lincolns, it's not going to happen. You have to be in 4-staff range to actually have a chance to interrupt that. So, yeah, in the end, Trough's death won't be too detrimental. That is 1 split down. He has a refresher, but wants to make sure he has 2 in a single fight. So, effectively, it's off the table for a minute. Along with that, we were kind of talking about it with the previous one, but Smash really has to be careful not to just be singled out panda by panda with his first life, because essentially if you can take out Smash during that time period, even though he has buyback, the second one won't be in the same exchange unless it's in their base.
Yeah, and if it's in your base, then it probably means that EG aren't losing any objectives, even if they lose that fight. And that's going to be the goal here. Pushing in the top lane, mid at the river, bottom now past the river. Actually, both lanes past it, and EG securing that map control. And still sitting on the gem for PPD. Though they are a bit light on wards. I imagine sooner or later we're going to see them make their way into the Radiant jungle with the Dire squad and clean up all the vision that remains for NOT. I mean, where do you go from here, Blaze? If you're NOT, any items you can see turning the tides? Is there a maneuver they should be attempting?
I mean, if like, for example, if they had picked off Fear down on bottom lane, that would have been huge. He currently doesn't have buyback, whether or not they know that is unclear, but he just picked up a Black King bar, so there was a chance for them to bring him down. Didn't work out, and now Arteezy's initiating on the Brew.
Cyclone smash, and he is silenced, but that'll just prompt a Stampede, and he heads to the south, away from his team, but also out of trouble. Meanwhile, Mihawk, no Stampede anymore. In fact, he's going aggressive top lane, or bottom lane, trying to split push this one hard, but Trout's on the chase. He's got a BKB available if he wants to use it. Didn't pop it. Caps won't get vision for it. Now Smash will be right by Fear, and attempting to right-click him, but not going to be able to finish him off without some chain stun, and just doesn't have it. Well, they wait out the Aegis at least, but yeah. EG continue to pile up the items. 4.3k gold up Arteezy. Can sell his drums, have his next item, can hang on to them and just fill out his inventory. We're getting to the ultra late game Death Prophet Weaver destruction stage where they just spam their minus armor go on you and nice. Again with the dual section by Arteezy. Right as they attack him, but the boat crashes through and he will go down once. Can they kill him a second time? Oh, did the Aegis just end?
It just ended. It was literally 6 seconds when they started with that swap, and his Yules actually, I think, delayed it enough so that it was broken when he fell.
That was I swear I saw the Aegis like a quarter of a second before he died. So now they come back. They're going to find the Death Prophet. Your double Ravage Rise from Universe to shred NOT into one. There's no splits available, and even refresh for this. He's got to get one off before he goes down. He can't do it. It's a 1,400 gold bounty, the death of the Brewmaster, and probably more. Here on the retreat out will be a Ben, as well as a Viper. They'll lose the bench here for sure. Does go step to live. Evo gets some long-range medical assistance. That is a real sacrificial medic. And now Arteezy's on the chase for more Yules, cooling down in 10. In range for Shiva's in about 10 as well, but not able to lock him down for now. In fact, the Brew is forced to buy back. And EG say, great, we're happy with that. And Arteezy, well, remember, he bought back as well. So if he dies again, we are looking at trouble, but Fear getting aggressive now. He'll walk right into a stop, into a double-edged follow-up. 4-staffed away, but not enough to keep him alive. And he didn't have buyback earlier, but Blaze, he has managed to farm it up now. So in the end, EG will have their full squad if NOT try to make a move high ground.
Yeah, he actually had time to use the cheese there since it's instant. He started the time-lapse animation that was just a moment too late, but it's a tough situation to get out of no matter what. Against those three heroes, they'll chase you to the ends of the earth, and he just, in the end, will take a spill. But the main objective for right now is NOT need to force the buyback on Fear. If Fear has a buyback in their next fight, they have to go up against 1 Death Prophet and 2 Weavers, maybe 3 if you count time-lapse. It's just too much.
Meanwhile, top lane, they're trying to keep the tide out of the fight while they go in on PPD. They will finish off the outlane now, pop by Neon, and they have to look for racks on this one. Arteezy doesn't have his ultimate. They're trying to play around the exorcism timing and take the advantage that way, but Fear will quickly deal with the Fire Panda, and now they sound the retreat. Unfortunately, they've lost Ewo. Now they'll try to go in on him. Ravage is not available for 60 seconds. Both teams lacking their full complement of spells, but despite that, it's the Weaver who looks to make his mark. Focusing on Ewo. Now they look for the stun. Can they finish her off? Ewo BKB out of this one, running directly through enemy line. Johnny Walker Chop just can't get off a long duration ultimate. Quickly dealt with. But lives for the time being. He's really fading him out. Now the exorcism pulls down, and Arteezy comes back in, starts to clean up. They lost the Brewmaster the second time. Misko's on the way out, and Fear still survives through it all. Cycloning up the event. They won't have a Brew for the defense, and Arteezy barrels down mid with the rest of EG. They're looking for their first lane of racks, and by golly, Blaze, I think they might finally have enough of an upper hand to take it.
Yeah, the Ventor will be annoying for 40 seconds, will reduce their damage, but they still, actually, no, they don't have Exorcism. They still have a lot of durability, though. They have 3,000 HP on Death Prophet with 61% physical damage mitigation, the heart to regen if you're out of combat, and then the cheese to bring yourself back to full when you're in it.
Radiant
comes in, PPD dropping low, he will fall. Now Ewa looking for a bit more, but Arteezy has no exorcism for this. The Ravage is a cool down though. They've got double Ravage on Universe, and he's thinking about an initiation here. Gets the Ravage off right as Mihawk jumps on him. Ravage number 2, prepped and ready. He'll let it fly. Mihawk caught out, will go down here, and that is going to be the death of the Centaur. Buyback's just not here for NOT. They've got 0, they've lost 3, and that's going to be it. 4 heroes dead, EG run them over. 40 seconds to go on Exorcism. The celebratory smoke pumped, and the base is in shambles now. Looks like EG dodge a bullet against NOT, and will take the second game of day number 2.
and just shows how much of an advantage EG had towards the tail end of that. The fact that Arteezy lost Aegis, and in the second that he loses Aegis, they take him down, which in any game should be a huge boon, but in the end, 48 minutes here, EG just had too great of a lineup in the late game. Universe with that refresher, turning the tide, as it were, and yeah, this is going to be their game to pick.
That'll be 3 lanes of Rex. The Death Prophet ult coming off cooldown in 5 seconds, and they still sit on a cheese for Arteezy, though I do want to mention, if something goes horribly wrong, nobody in this game has a buyback, but there will be one soon on the tide. Looks like EG will play it safe knowing they don't have any. Maybe they lose Trout here, but the rest can probably make their way out. Trout caught out on the low ground and just cost them their gem, but with 2 lanes of Rex down, as long as EG don't take any more losses, they should be fine here to hold served and then look for one more push to take their 3rd lane of Rex.
Yep,
Are you feeling a little sad?
Yeah, he's the sacrificial lamb. They're like, see you, guy. I knew you for a bit, but it's not gonna work out. We'll be replacing you. But no, we'll see Roshan respawn. Maybe NOT can try to get something off the back of that. There is, of course, no Ravage, so the game isn't fully over, but it's really hard to come back long term. The next 5 minutes will decide whether NOT will take this game, because beyond that, well, there is just too much momentum from the creep wave. They don't have a great clear other than Kunkka getting some farm out of nowhere, and it's got to be now, essentially. They know that Ravage is not up now, but by the time they hit the base, it essentially will be. And,
yeah, and we're looking at EG, doesn't have a glyph available, but they have at least enough buildings that maybe they sack 1 Rax. But beyond that, they will have the double Ravage. Smash, also worth mentioning, only sitting on a single split, and that's only if he refreshes, so he might not have the double split for this team fight. He's going to get caught out to start things off. Now that will prompt Stampede. Universe going in with the Gush. Alkstun will follow Mihawk and force him out. But no full commitment yet. Just Arteezy in pursuit. He's tanky with the cheese and wants to try to prevent a Smash Blink Dagger. Every few seconds just plinking away at him. Smash probably going to have to ult soon, waiting 10 more seconds for that to cool down. But while this is happening, the mid lane will begin pushing back, and they're forced to send the Viper bottom to deal with that. That means no Viper in this fight, which Mihawk now, oh, he needs this haste. Oh, that's a lucky one. Can he make his way out on the back of it? Looks like he'll just be able to scoot away. But now they've got double Ravage up. And you gotta figure, EG are a few moments away from a 5-man death ball. Just a Roche, another cheese, and then I expect we'll see them go straight down mid or just down the top lane.
Yep, played it perfectly fine, forced the Stampede early, and they were perfectly fine with the full disengage. Now the Roche is theirs for the taking. A couple TPs back, I mean, there's no way to get into it, and they couldn't if they tried. This is just an immensely well-played game from EG. They looked a little wobbly early on, but if you look at the graphs, it's been in their favor for a long time, dramatically so in the past few minutes.
Hey, just cheese. We're getting to that point in the game where inventory slots are a bit of a problem, so you see your supports picking up the cheese. PPD, well, he'll just hold it for now. Arteezy's out of slots, and he'll complete a Hex, so basically 6 slotted. I mean, you could replace the Yules, you could get Boots of Travel, and I guess still sitting on a cheese for now, but he's getting to that point where there's not too much room to grow, but doesn't really need any more. Just needs to live, get one more exorcism off at the base, and NOT they need EG to throw this one Blaze. I feel like that is the only way they come back into this game.
Yeah, there's still so much room for error for EG. Arteezy is one of the few heroes on the map that has actually farmed up enough gold to get another buyback out. So we see Universe has it, and pretty soon it will be coming up for Witch Doctor as well as the Weaver. But otherwise, there are very few up on the map, and just him having that second life, as well as the cheese, is pretty huge.
NOT just have not had a shot at Roche this entire game. We did mention it early, just how good EG are controlling Roche. Dire side and just with a really bursty lineup for killing him off, but even when NOT were leading this game, the timing was never there for them. Like their window where they had full map control, Roche was dead. And it's just credit to EG for constantly scouting and securing it, and a combination of bad luck and just no openings for NOT to finish it off.
Up top, there's an interesting flank coming in from the Vengeful Spirit, hiding out in the tree line here, as buried as you can be, but doesn't know the creep timing and is just going to reveal himself. So I don't know if this had any shot in the dark.
Fear has used Sakuchi. He's got an MKB, and he's going to commit on to Smash of it. Now the split comes out. They can stun Fear with a Boulder Toss follow-up. They'll bring him low, and they do finish off the Aegis. Well played, but don't know if they can get round number 2. Boulder Toss ready. Fear gonna time-lapse his way out, it looks like. Now the Ravage coming through, and no, actually didn't time-lapse that one. BKB will be deployed. Now he'll deploy it. The time-lapse, it goes right back in. Ravage number 2 prepared. Universe still waiting. Now it comes right as the boat arrives, and from the high ground comes a wonderful backboard by Trout, but that gets canceled. Mihawk says no. You will be denied, and it will be again. Just unable to get off a full duration one, but it seems to be enough. Arteezy arrives, the backup's here, and now the look for Mihawk. Shiva's there, doesn't let him blink out, and now focuses him with the full exorcism. On the backside of the fight, PPD's being pursued out by the Brewmaster split. Mihawk brought low, not finished off yet. The Yoles will be there from Arteezy, and times the Crips one perfectly, securing that kill. Absolutely bloody fight. Did force out a Witch Doctor buyback, but it cost NOT, and it cost them big time.
Surprisingly, the 5-second BKB for Ewo is enough for him to time it well against the Ravage and nullify a lot of spells that were going to be used against him. So Universe's initiation, at least round 1, wasn't as strong as they wanted it to be, but they got enough damage out of that Aghanim's Death Ward as well as Arteezy's reinforcing that they can just take it from here. It's very difficult to hold this position. They have 2 Vipers, they're going to have to use them early, but we'll see what they can do.
He's just here for a bit of small tactics. Ewo runs in, trying to focus on the Witch Doctor, but can't finish him off. Now the Maledict deployed finally will get the kill, but it comes in the cost, completely ignoring Fear, who, with the BKB, doesn't care about the play now, though. Right as I say that it ends, the Tide Hunter just gets splatted on the backside of the fight. Fear dropping low to a Artour. Can they finish the job? He time-lapses, jukes out of this one, but the reinforcements just keep on rushing in for Mihawk and the rest of NOT. They'll overwhelm Fear. He'll be forced to cheese now as well, but he will survive this one. Arteezy finished off, and Fear just has to beat a retreat. That's actually almost the entire EG squad dead. There's a buyback at the ready if Arteezy has to use it. But they just bludgeon themselves upon the NOT defenses.
Yeah, it was actually really impressive how much damage they were able to do despite whenever the Ravage is unavailable. Whenever they can take Universe out of the picture, they can do immense work because it was actually Arteezy that got off the full cheese first, and then the Weaver did later on. They had 2 cheese in that fight, the full time lapse. They essentially killed Weaver 3 times and Arteezy twice, and yet they were able to do that much with what I would consider a relatively underfarmed Viper when it comes down to just the net worth charts and how well he can scale into that late. So obviously he had to buy back, and that's the greater cost. Also Mihawk going down here, very consequential. But yeah, I've still got to be impressed with the good old college try coming up from NOT.
Now that's a nice pick off by Fear, mostly just because NOT, they had a little bit of momentum to get the lanes pushed out, but with that death, they're going to experience a lot of the lanes pushing back in. The bottom lane was in the base, beating away at all the buffer buildings. Now the tier 4s are exposed, so next time there's a long fight like that, even if it's slightly NOT favored, the tier 4s are going to take at least like half damage, if not drop. They got to be careful about that. And they will go in now. They will look for Fear. Remember, Fear, no buyback. 20 gold short. He barely time-lapses out at the buzzer. He makes his escape, but they keep on chasing after him. The cast comes bouncing through. It's a wonderful cast directly between Smash and Misko. Just the bounce they needed. This puts Ewo on his own in the front of the fight. And with that, Penalkstone follows this up. Well, he'll make himself to safety. Double splits at the ready, but double Ravage is there to answer, and well, it comes down to initiation. Who's going to get it off? PPD caught out by a swap into the fight, and the Witch Doctor will come. Cancelled quickly by Cyclone. Good awareness there to cancel that one out. Now Universe, quick double Ravage, but it's the follow-up at the ready. Fear joins the fight. They lost 3. They're going to lose Ewo from this one as well. Just can't make his way out in time. And Ewo will turn, will try to run. He's dead too. There's 1 more to go. It's only Smash. It's Smash against the entire EG squad. 4 heroes pursuing him out. And it looks like he'll be forced to refresh. He can go for another split if he likes. So use the refresher just to reset the Ghost Scepter, and then will make his way to the north. But well, meanwhile, Arteezy at the Radiant base, crushing through the tier 4s with his ultimate, but bring both down. The second split was used here. How about Golden Toss Arteezy? He's caught out of the Radiant base. Remember, he's got buyback for this. Even if he dies once, he will have a second crack at it, but no ultimate for now. Trying to finish Mihawk, the Ghost will turn around at the final moments and won't complete the kill. Now the Brewmaster split continues to do its work on him. Needs a Boulder Toss, juking, gets off the Hex, turns on Smash, wants to finish the job. No more escape for you. The Shivas does it. And finally, 57 minutes in, EG seal the fate of NOT. But they really had to work for this one, Blaze. They'll take it 36-34. And they do stay undefeated in Starlight America, but make no mistake, this was not an easy win.
No. Smash Against the World sounds like a good title for this game here. He did so many amazing things in the fights. Every single ability you can expect from him. That last play there where he cancels his split, goes for the blink during Ghost Scepter, and then is able to get a TP away from Fear, enabling him to try to contest Arteezy there. He just is thinking in a global sense, and you can tell this guy just has so much skill behind him. But in the end, it's not enough. They weren't able to break the high ground in full at any point in time, and then 57 minutes in, Evil Geniuses hammers it home.
I gotta admit, the EG looked a little shaky. They did have a stand-in, and Fear is coming back from a pretty long break, but I still want to give NOT a lot of credit. That was a hard-fought loss, and to me, this is a team that I expect to be one of the favorites to make the playoffs. It was the case. I expected them to do a lot better in the America qualifiers, but that was without Ewo, and I gotta say, Ewo's fit in nicely. NOT, a lot of potential here, and especially for other events which might have multiple qualifier spots for American teams. I see them as a threat, even if they don't make it in Star Ladder. So impressive from them, but in the end, Blaze, the boys in blue do stand defeated. Guys, we've got one more match coming up. There's 3 on the day. Our final match is going to be SP versus Shadows of the Past versus Union Gaming. So one more game before today wraps up. I'm LD, he's Blaze. Be sure to follow him at Blaze Casting, myself at LD DotA. Guys, we will return momentarily. You're watching Star Ladder America, brought to you by Beyond the Summit.